Struby from Glue and Glitter, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, air fryers. The kind of air fryer that I'm going to talk about today is this style of air fryer with the removable basket and a unit that looks kind of like this. I'm not going to talk about combo ovens because I haven't really found a combo oven that I'm in love with, and so I don't feel comfortable talking about them. If I do find a combo oven I love though, I'll be sure to make a video about it. I'm going to answer some questions that I often get about air fryers, and hopefully they will be your questions. If you have other questions that I don't address in this video, feel free to leave a comment. I try to respond to every comment, especially if it's a question. The first question that I get about air fryers is, what is an air fryer? An air fryer is basically a super hot convection oven. It's obviously a lot smaller than a convection oven. And what distinguishes it from a convection oven, the main thing, is cooking time. An air fryer takes about half the time that it would take to cook something in your conventional oven. A convection oven takes about 25% less time. So an air fryer half the time, a convection oven 75% of the time. So it's a lot faster. It also doesn't heat up the house the way an oven does, which is something I love, especially in the summer. I live in Atlanta. It's hot here for a lot of the year, so not heating up the house is a definite plus. The other great thing about an air fryer is that you can cook with little to no oil. Just know that if you skip the oil, you are going to give up a little bit of that crispy fried texture that you might be going for. But that's just, a sacrifice you make. It's still going to be a delicious result. It just might not be as crispy on the outside as it would have been if you'd used a little bit of oil or even a little bit of spray oil. The other thing that the oil does help do is prevent sticking. Air fryers have non-stick baskets, but a little oil really does help prevent sticking more. You can also use a piece of cut parchment paper to prevent sticking. If you do use parchment paper, you just want to make sure it doesn't cover the whole inside of the basket because you do want the air to still be able to circulate. Things you should not use in your air fryer to prevent sticking are wax paper because it's hot in there and wax melts. And tin foil or aluminum foil because that can scratch the nonstick coating and you do not want that. The next question that I get a lot about air fryers is, what size air fryer do you need? This depends on how many people you're looking to feed. Something in the 2 to 3.5 quart range is good for 1 to 3 people. So if you live alone or if you have a small family like I do, that size is generally pretty good. I recently upgraded to this 5.8 quart Zen Chef Double XL Pro air fryer. This feeds 6 to 7 people and I love it. It allows me to cook for leftovers for my family of 3. That way we all have something to eat in our lunches the next day too. And it's also nice if we're having company. I can cook a little bit more food. The next thing I'm going to go over are some air fryer basics that people ask about. A lot of people ask if it's easy to clean, and that really depends on the design of your air fryer. This one is incredibly easy to clean. It has a little button here to release the basket, so you can clean the inner basket, top and bottom, and wipe out the inside here. The other thing that I prefer when it comes to finding an air fryer that's easy to clean, this basket has holes on the bottom rather than mesh. I find that the holes prevent sticking better than the mesh does, and also the holes are easier to clean. If something gets into that tiny mesh bottom, it's a real pain to get it out. But with the holes, it's really easy to get in there and clean everything with just a sponge and some warm soapy water. So the next thing to know about your air fryer is that it's going to have 2 kinds of controls. Let me slide the basket in so it'll turn on. It's going to have your automatic controls, which are presets for different things like fries and chips. And then the other set of controls you have are manual, so you can set a custom time and temperature. So the other thing that I like about this air fryer is that it has this little S button, which is a start and stop button. So if you finish cooking early, you can just turn it off. You don't have to just unplug it while it's cooking, which I really love. Another question I get about the air fryer is, how long do I cook my food in it if you're not following a recipe? There are a couple of general rules to follow. For something frozen that's like kind of like a tater tot to a chickenless nugget size, you can do 10 minutes at 400 for frozen items, and that generally will get the job done. You can always add a little time or stop a little bit early, depending on how things are progressing. And if you know the baking time, you can cook it for half of that baking time at the same temperature or as close as you can get. So if it's something says 425, most air fryers only go up to 400, so cook it at 400 for half the time. You can always add a little time on the back end if you need to. The other important thing to know when you're cooking with your air fryer is that you do not want to overfill your basket. I know that when you see pictures of air fryers, they're always filled with bountiful, overflowing French fries, and that looks really beautiful and it's great for a photograph, but when it comes to practical cooking in your air fryer, those fries are disgusting. They look beautiful on the top, and the ones on the top will be nice and crispy because they were able to get exposed to that hot circulating air. The ones in the middle are going to either be uncooked, mushy, or a disgusting mix of both things. Do not overfill your air fryer. If your air fryer doesn't have a fill line on the inside, I wouldn't go more than halfway. The basic rule is the more you fill it, the longer you need to cook and the more often you need to shake. So if you're cooking just like a single veggie burger in here, it won't take nearly as long as if you're cooking 8 veggie burgers in here. So just keep checking for doneness and know that cooking times are going to vary depending on how much you fill. So for these hash browns that I want to make today, see how much room is in that air fryer? And then I told you that I like oil. I'm just going to use spray oil today. Please don't get mad at me. This is a new spray. And it's not spraying. Here it goes. Please don't yell about too much oil at me. I like oil. If you don't like oil, you don't have to use it. I'm not going to make you eat these hash browns. For hash browns, I usually follow the French fry rule. So you can either use your French fry preset, or if you're like me, you can do it manually. So what are we at? So we'll go up to 400. And I'll do it for 20. And in about 10 minutes, I'll give this a shake. That's another important thing to know about cooking with your air fryer. You want to shake during your cooking. That helps move the food around so that the food in the middle gets to come to the outside and get more air exposure. And it gives that food on the outside a break, moving it inside so that you don't get some burnt food and some undercooked food. That's no good. The last thing I want to talk about with your air fryer are a couple of safety concerns. Air fryers are pretty safe. You can see I'm standing right here while it's cooking, although I am not putting my hand back, behind it because that's where the vent is and hot air comes out of there. And because there's that vent releasing hot air out of the back, it's important that when you're cooking on the counter that you move your air fryer away from the wall. I generally just move mine so that the front of the air fryer is as close to the edge of the counter as I feel comfortable with. I learned this rule because I was using my air fryer for the first time and didn't move it away from the wall, and when I went to unplug it, I had melted the plastic outlet cover. Someone was asking if they were okay to keep using their air fryer if the nonstick coating had chipped. My heart goes out to this person because that happened to me with a previous air fryer from a different company, and I would not keep using it if the basket is chipped. You don't want, because it'll keep chipping once it's started, you don't want to eat that nonstick coating. It's disgusting. If your basket chips, you should reach out to the company. Their customer service should get back to you about how you can get a basket replacement either for free or even if you have to pay for one, it's worth it. So those are really my basic air fryer frequently asked questions. I hope that if you have more questions, you'll leave a comment below, and thank you so much.